Welcome to Backstory Song. I'm your host, Doug Burke, and today we're here with Preston Creed of the band Jagertown. Preston Creed is the frontman and lead songwriter for the country southern rock band Jagertown. The son of musicians, Preston has been singing and creating songs since he was a child in a seemingly non-stop flow of musical creativity. Jagertown shows are high-energy performances, or as Preston says, we play country music for people who want to party.
I turn the key, this old engine rolls. Roll down my windows, and unlock all my doors. Crank up my stereo with a goodbye tune. Yeah, I'm putting our love in my review. I'm putting our love in my review. It must be the open road, some wind in my hair. Makes a man forget, makes him just not care. With no destination and nothing to prove. Yeah, I'm putting our love in my review. I'm putting our love in my review. It feels like I'm floating on air as the world flies by. The options are open now and time's on my side. Swore you were sorry, but I know it ain't true. So I'm putting our love in my review.
So we're here with Preston Creed, talk about Rearview.
Hey, Doug. Yeah, man, Rearview. That was our highest charting single so far. We've had 3 singles on the national charts, country radio. And for a band from Utah, that's a big deal, putting some country on the map. The album is called Blacktop, but that was the single from earlier in the year. It peaked out all the way at number 26. And it was produced by Matt McClure and co-produced by a guy named Jeff King. Matt McClure is out of Nashville. He did the whole record. He did Lee Bryce's stuff, his bigger stuff, initially 3 of his number ones. He did a number 1 with Dylan Scott and another number 1 for a guy out of Canada. So he's just got a great pedigree, works with all kinds of amazing people. And then Jeff King is kind of the session leader and, kind of co-producer. And Jeff King is Reba's and Brooks and Dunn's guitar player and session player, one of the best session players around in Nashville. So it was a great experience. We recorded the full album in 2 different blocks, and when we recorded Rearview, we worked at Ocean Way, which is a super world-famous studio in Nashville. It was, everywhere you go, from the bathrooms to the kitchen, there's platinum records hanging everywhere from albums that we all listen to that have been recorded there. So it was an awesome experience. It was super humbling. There's 3 studios in that place. It's actually an old church that was converted years and decades ago to a studio, and it's got an awesome energy. From the songwriting standpoint, I'm writing all the time, and it's kind of crazy. A lot of people don't know, but you send tons of songs. So I sent him probably 20 songs, and on that first round we did 4. So you're trying to pick the very best from what you've written and record that. And Rearview was the first song that we recorded in Nashville, and it happened to be the song that we were all pretty well confident was going to have a real radio friendly vibe, and it did well. Anybody can relate to it. The video was cool. What the director did with it, he used a girl as kind of the star of the video, and then there's different shots that cut to us playing kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and it can go either way. It's not a song that's saying guy or girl. It's basically somebody just moving on. And I had the idea for the song, driving down the road, and when you kind of catch your own eyes in the rear view and everything that's behind you. It's a breakup song, but it's also super hopeful. Like the last line of, turn the key, this engine roars, roll down the window and unlock all my doors. So you're opening yourself up to the possibility of what the future brings as you put everything else behind you. So it's kind of the inspiration for the song. And there's some fun lyrics in there, things like There's a line in the bridge about, shaking the shadows of shame for a newfound truth. Just fun, little, super hopeful, kind of forward-thinking lyrics in the song. And a lot of people resonated with it. Had a lot of people, say, oh, this is my song. Very close friends of the band and fans, people that were going through a difficult time, when the song was released. And it was kind of just became a lot of people's little theme song for that moment in their life. So it did really well, and we were super proud of the way it came out. And, to date, it's been our highest charting single. So, yeah. Was there any one individual, or was it a composite of people, or even just your imagination that was in your rear view? Yeah, it's, for a lot of times when you're a songwriter, and I remember... I've told this story a couple times, but I went to a songwriting conference with a guy named Steve Seskin, who in the 90s and early 2000s, he's got about 7 number ones. He's from San Francisco, but he's actually a country songwriter, Nashville guy. He's written for Toby Keith and Faith Hill and Tim McGraw and a bunch of people. And, when I was sitting there with him, and he said, when you're a songwriter, you're a fiction and a nonfiction writer. So if you never wrote about things that you didn't personally experience, you'd probably be disingenuous. And if you only wrote about things that you personally experienced, you'd probably be kind of one-dimensional. So you have to kind of be a satellite dish for ideas, and not every song that you write is going to be something that we've all gone through breakups, but if you're a songwriter, sometimes you just have to be able to, I imagine it's a lot like acting. You put yourself in the moment, or you put yourself in the shoes of somebody that's experiencing that, not necessarily saying that you're going through that right now, but you have to be able to kind of put yourself there, and what would this person be going through? Sometimes some of the songs I write are stories that friends tell me, or, I'm sitting on a train, or sitting at breakfast when you're on the road and you overhear somebody telling a story, and you're like, wow, that's an idea. I'm constantly putting stuff in my phone of one-liners or ideas or stuff that people say. And then, some stuff is yours. Some stuff is you put yourself in that moment. I've had songs that I've recorded now that I had the idea, of a feeling that I experienced when I was a teenager or something, So that's kind of where it goes. This particular song wasn't anything that I was experiencing at that moment, other than, driving down the road and looking at yourself in the rear view and thinking about everything that's behind you. And it was a beautiful day. And then I went home. I had the idea for a chorus. I write a lot while I'm driving, and not actually write it, but I'll hit record on a voice memo, and get an idea for a melody. And then I'll go home and grab my guitar, sit at the piano, and kind of start functioning it out there. So that's what this song, that's where this one came from. So how'd you find or pick your producers for this song? So it was Matt. We met Matt through our 4th album we produced in Utah, and we had 2 songs that were on the charts from that. We were working with a radio promotion company called Grassroots out of Nashville. And Matt happens to be married to a gal that works kind of hand in hand with them. And, our first couple singles that we released that made some noise, did great. And we thought, hey, there's something that happens in Nashville. There's definitely, they have the market kind of cornered when it comes to the country sound and the people that they work with. So she introduced us to her husband through our management, and then it just kind of, he listened to the stuff. He doesn't just work with anybody, because he's got to put his name on it and everything too, but he really liked the sound. He liked, the way things were going, and, he was receptive to the idea of working together. So we just scheduled it up, and, we started going back and forth with songs that we had ideas for, and made it happen. So that's how it works. So there's a lot of instrumentation on this. Yeah. And so there must have been a lot of arrangements going on. So we can talk about that. Absolutely. So Jagertown consists of 5 people. So there's myself, I play acoustic guitar, sing. There's Liz, she plays violin, she sings. There's or fiddle, however you want to say. And then there's we have lead guitar. Scotty plays lead, and Jesse plays bass and sings, and then Dimitri plays drums. We call him Meter. So we're a 5-piece, but you can also hear other things happening in that song. There's some lap steel, a little bit of other production stuff that happens post-production. A few instruments that maybe we don't play ourselves in the band. So, when you go and you record, you get the basic meat of the song, drums, bass, guitar, vocals kind of stuff. And then post-production wise, when you leave, then they bring in other musicians and kind of put the salt and pepper on the top and a little bit of things that maybe, would just kind of bring the song to life a little bit more. So that's kind of how that goes. And Matt has a stable of, some of the best players in Nashville. So you want the best lap steel guy, you get him, and he, puts a little flavor on there for you, some piano, so on and so forth. So that's kind of how that goes. There's a lot of things that happen post-production when you leave. Literally we'll record for a week or two, and then we'll leave, and we won't even hear the songs for a month, 2 months, a month. It takes a lot of time to go through the post-production process and then the mixing and mastering to hear the final product. So
you've been performing this live now for a while.
Yeah.
Do you find that the song has evolved live, or what's happened in front of the audience? How's been the
usually for us too, like we perform songs before we record them, so they do kind of take on a life. And then once it gets recorded, especially once it goes to radio, if you kind of have it down. So I've definitely watched, the song hasn't changed per se, but I've watched, as it grew in popularity and stuff, there's nothing quite like when you're on stage and you're in a new town, or even in your hometown, and people are singing every word. And that's just a testament to people listening. I think if you memorize every lyric and you're singing along, that means you've heard it a few times and you really like it. So the song hasn't changed from when we recorded it. It's definitely still the same song, but just the response and how it grew, for the audience is awesome.
It's one of my favorites.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
It was a cold December day when last I thought of you. A steady mix of snow and rain was falling on my roof. Another bottle down, another year older. Another broken promise to get sober. I blame it on the wine. I'm missing you. Every tear that falls, every late night call, and everything I didn't do. I'm taking it in stride. Watch my world evaporate in a glass as empty as my life. I blame it on the wine.
Blame it on the wine.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a red wine song.
It's definitely a red wine song. In fact, there's red wine in the video. So, yeah. In country music, it's one of those genres. I was talking with my dad the other day, and it's such a special, cool genre because you can definitely tell a story, and that's what they want. The audience expects a story, and, there's all kinds of songs in country about beer and whiskey, and I love those songs. It's great. And I thought, it would be really cool and wine is such one of those drinks too. It's the joke is always it's the emotional group, juice of the grape. So it's an emotional song, and it's definitely one of those songs. It has the idea that I think a lot of people can relate to, which is a couple that knows it's over, but when it gets late and they get lonely and maybe they've had a couple glasses of wine, they end up making that phone call anyway, even though they know that something is actually not going to work out. And I was super excited that I actually got to write the screenplay for the video. So the video came out amazing. We worked with the same guy who did the music video for Rearview. Only the difference with this video was we really wanted to have a storyline video. So we cast it, had a bunch of people audition, male lead and a female lead. And the male lead, he just really killed it. They both did a great job, but the story comes through super well. And it's hard in a music video setting too, because, the actors don't have dialogue. So they've got to sell it, the story without really being able to, hear what they're saying. And they both did great. There's some cool shots. We actually shot it a few blocks from here. So at least our part, it was
in Salt Lake City.
It was in the middle of winter. It was 5 a.m. And it was freezing cold. And the song, it made sense because, I mean, the first lyric, it was a cold December day when last I thought of you. So we wanted the breath to be showing in the video. We wanted it to seem cold, and it was very cold. So the video is really cool because it has flashbacks of when, maybe this relationship was working. And now it kind of fast forwards to a time where these two aren't together anymore, but they keep coming back together. It's kind of one of those songs where people are doing what they're doing, but they can just blame it on the wine. They're blaming it on we spent the night together again. We keep ending up together, but it's not really our fault. It's because, it's the wine. We can blame it on this. So it's a great song. The video really tells the story. We needed a ballad, and, from the ballads that we sent, and we chose this one. I wrote that little guitar line that ended up being a fiddle line. Liz is so much better of a musician than I am, and so I wrote this really simple little haunting na 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 on guitar, and she took it on violin, and the producer was like, "Oh yeah, definitely a violin line." So it ended up being, her line, and it's kind of one of those signature lines. In music you call them hooks. Whether it's like a Sweet Child of Mine thing or whatever. There's hooks within hooks. So it's not only the lyric that you're singing, but it's that line that keeps repeating na 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 na. It's very gets in your brain, kind of a brainworm thing. I think it's one of those songs too, it did have a lot of relatability, and the fact that we had a male and a female lead in the video, it was kind of like both perspectives. So you had the guy's perspective and the girl's perspective. It was really fun in that way to kind of portray that story. So
I was wondering if it was a Nashville winter or a Utah winter for you, but I think you've answered that question. I was also wondering that December is that time of New Year's resolution, and it feels like this is like an anticipation of a failed resolution to come.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is. It's one of those things where you keep doing what you told yourself you wouldn't do, if that makes sense. And I think a lot of people could relate to that. A lot of people did relate to it, and just the subject matter. Yeah, it was definitely what you said. It's a failed resolution, but they're making some sort of peace with it, and they're not taking as much responsibility. They're kind of just in that place. So, yeah.
They said you need more time, had to have your space. Well, I can give you that and then some. Or I can just walk away. You made it extra clear you were moving on. Don't pick up the phone to call me when your world gets dark and cold. The truth is, babe, I may be home, tangled up and twisted, but I'm not alone. No, I won't be cold. No, not tonight. I won't miss the way you kiss me the day you say goodbye. Yours as cold as rain. I'm burning all your memories away with an old flame. With an old flame.
That's kind of fun.
Old Flame.
Yeah, it's a fun one. Yeah, that came in the second block of the songs that we recorded. So we did 7 songs on the Blacktop album, and that one, we were getting ready to go back to Nashville earlier this year. We knew we were going to do 3 or 4 more songs, and once again I'd sent another 15, 20 songs. We were kind of rifling through what's it going to be. We had definitely decided on one, and I'd sent over a bunch of stuff. We thought we had them picked, so this is a kind of a funny, wild story of how all it works sometimes. But we basically had them down to, okay, we're going to do these three songs or 4 songs, whatever. And 2 days before we got on the plane, I was listening back through the work, they call them work tapes. So the work tapes that I had sent, basically it's just me and a guitar, maybe with a metronome, like a click. So I'm playing in time, and, just some scratch vocals. And then I send the lyrics over, and we kind of decide on a tempo and stuff. So I was listening back through the 4 songs that we had sent, and I just thought to myself, man, Jagertown always walks that line between, it says it on the side of the bus, rock and country, and we just didn't have a song in the group that we were going to release with this album that I felt like really felt like Jagertown, something that kind of kicked it in the teeth and was high energy. That's how our shows are. We all come from different backgrounds, but we definitely try to put on a very energetic show. I mean, from Liz doing, back bends while she's in splits, so she's practically while she's playing violin, to, Scott jumping around on the stage, me and Jesse jumping around, Meter's back there, his hair's flying. And we were just in Colorado last week and playing at a large venue, and he had a rock star fan in front of his drums, and his hair was it looked like an 80s video. It was awesome. I mean, just blowing while he's smashing drums. So we needed something that rocked. And I had this idea, and at the time it was just a chorus for this song called Old Flame. And the idea basically was, a breakup, but then, somebody who's not going to be alone for very long because they have somebody that they can call. You're going back to a relationship, an old relationship. You're fanning that old flame. And it's kind of a, finger in your eye song to a recent breakup. And basically, especially in this day and age, I see it all the time on social media when people have a breakup. You don't want to post yourself alone in your basement, sad that you're, the breakup's happened. You want your ex to think that you're, living a better life and you've moved on. So that's kind of the song, and people have related to it. It's fun. It's super upbeat. It goes over great live. There's some fun lyrics within it, but I had the idea for the song, and 2 days before we got on the plane to go back to Nashville, I got a hold of Matt, our management did, and I said, look, I've got this other idea. I think we need to scratch one of these other songs and we need to do this Old Flame song. I had a really fun little that really cool little hooky lick that was just super upbeat and kind of in your face. And I sent it to him, and instantly he got back and was like, oh, we need to do that song. Like, no hesitation. He just was like, yep, that's you guys. That's 100% Jagertown. And you need this song for this record. So we recorded it. And, it's one of my most favorite songs to play. It's in a drop D kind of a tuning. So it's got that real fat rocking sound to it. And just the lyrical content, it's kind of on the nose and in your face a little bit. So
where do you put it in the Jagertown set list when you play it these days? Yeah,
it goes, it's funny. It goes like right in the middle somewhere. So like as you build your set list and your shows, it should be kind of like a emotional roller coaster a little bit. You go up, you go down, you've got ballads, you've got mid-tempos, and it kind of goes right toward the middle, and it's where we're bringing the energy back up and kind of going to end on a big note. So yeah, it usually goes right around there.
So just before break?
I hate taking breaks, honestly. I mean, we play so many different kind of shows, whether it's Country Fan Fest where we're opening up for, Luke Combs or something, and you're playing an hour and it's just an hour straight, or, we're traveling and we're, playing some honky tonk somewhere and you have to play for, a couple, 2-3 hours. My favorite set is 2 hours. So if it's a 2-hour set, I think that's perfect enough time to not need a break and also not give the audience a chance to get bored. Just pedal to the floor. Me and my drummer always laugh. We say all killer, no filler, just straight ahead. And yeah, so it goes in the middle somewhere in there.
So Old Flame, is this purely your imagination, or was there anyone in mind?
Yeah, no, I think this one came from a little bit more personal space. Yeah, like reality, like I've definitely had breakups before, and, you look back and you want to be the better version of yourself, so you can kind of show somebody what they're missing. So yeah, this one was a little more personal, I would say. Even though it was an idea of old, it was more of a not imagined. It was my own story for sure.
And I know that I crossed it. Well, if there was a better me somewhere back there, then I swear that I lost him. And so I'm piling up this mountain again. I know that I won't climb. Oh, before it's time, you were mine. The lightning and the strikes, but never touches the ground. Two big city hearts in a one-light town. I'm out here holding on, but you're gone, and these tears don't stop. Like rain falling on the blacktop, falling on the blacktop.
Falling on the Blacktop.
Yes. Yeah, the new single, we're excited about that. I think I mean, we've been a band for going on 14 years, and we have 5 albums, a couple singles that were released. And it's probably one of my favorite songs I've had a chance to write. You know, it was one of the last batch that we sent for the second round of recording, and it was the song, you know, like Rearview was, it was like, we're definitely doing this song. So it came from a couple summers ago now. We were on the road touring, got home late, got in off the bus in my Jeep. It was about 3 a.m. I'm driving home back to where I live, and no one was on the road, and there was rain all over the place, and there was this lightning that was striking all over the place, but it wasn't touching the ground. So there's a line in there, you know, lightning that strikes but never touches the ground. And it's like, I was like, oh, what a fun metaphor for a relationship, you know, especially one that's, you know, kind of maybe over. You know, this song it kind of comes from a place of like, you know, the whoever is tortured, they're a little tormented by the thought of what used to be. And as they're driving around, you know, they're seeing all these things, you know, rains on the blacktop, and you know, it's just kind of reminding them of that. So the song came together great. I mean, Matt was super on board with it, you know, lyrically and story wise. I just think it's there. There's a lot of, you know, country music is all about small town references, and I grew up in a tiny town of about 3,000 people in high school, and you know, looking back on, you know, those kind of times and relationships, and when you're all alone. And like I said, I write in the car a lot. So it was super exciting to hear how it came together. I mean, there's a lot of different instrumentation on there. You can hear the organ at the end. You know, the violin is strong in there, the guitar licks, the different kind of stuff that we layered in, and stuff that Jeff came and brought to the table with the song that gave it the feel that it had, and the extra vocal work and stuff too. It's almost like a round in the end. Jesse and Liz keep singing, and I'm kind of ad-libbing over the top of it. So I love the song. I'm excited for what it's going to do in radio. It definitely is, you know, it's kind of a mid-tempo, but it feels totally like a Jagertown song. And I think anybody that liked Rearview and the other stuff that we did before, the radio promotion company is really confident that it's, you know, has the potential to maybe be our highest single yet. So
I love the cymbal crashes.
Thanks.
In it. I think this is going to be a powerful drum song for the crowd to get into.
Yeah, and it's like on that breakdown in the bridge, you know, and the kick drum just keeps going. It's like a heartbeat, you know. And so when we play it live, you can definitely see like the vibe, the dancing, you know, it doesn't go away. It doesn't have a total breakdown that needs to come back. This is one of those songs we were talking about earlier, you know, how does it change live versus everything else? And this song, we were playing this song for a long time. In fact, the first time we ever played it was not this year, but last year's Country Fan Fest out in Tooele. And we were playing the campground stage. We always close the show. They're our sponsor. And there was probably about 8,000 or 9,000 people. The wind was blowing. There's a really fun video of it live on YouTube that you can find. And it's cool to watch that because that was before the song was ever recorded. And you can kind of hear the progression of what it was when I wrote it. And that was the very first time that we'd ever even played it live versus what it became in the studio. So it was fun to watch that whole process. And from the very beginning, the crowd definitely, you know, identified with it. And it's been good. So
I think the storms in Utah are the most dramatic in the world sometimes. And the lightning we have here is dramatic, but this was lightning in Tennessee.
Well, this was, so this was actually, it wasn't where I wrote it. I wrote it here.
Okay.
So we were on the road and we'd just come off of like a week or two tour, like run. And it just happened to be when we rolled in town on the bus, there was this crazy summer storm. And so it was super early in the morning. Nobody was out. And I was driving back in this storm and just had this idea of a song. And just, I love when songwriters use nature or things that, you know, when you use those metaphors like this or like that, we were the lightning that strikes but never touches the ground. 2 big city hearts in a one light town. You know, I mean, there's just a lot of like reference to things that paint the picture for, you know, the emotion of the song. So
we have a lot of one light towns.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Here in Utah.
Yeah, and big city hearts, people that probably want to, you know, they have dreams of going to do something else, you know.
And we have a big sky where the lightning doesn't touch the ground a lot.
Unbelievable sunsets. And I find a lot of motivation when I'm driving around and have ideas and you know, you're inspired by nature or whatever you're seeing. And if you can paint that into a song, it makes it all that much more relatable.